This is 4.7. Summation notation. Get the door, please.
Summation notation.
When you add up all the numbers in a sequence, then you get summation notation. All right, here's just a very basic example. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. The notation is what we're concerned about. Can you write it in summation notation? All right, the first is the sigma. Okay, it's an E. Sometimes they put the little bars on there like that. All right, you're going to do I is equal to 1. Sometimes that's an X. When you get to calculus, that might be an X. On the top, you put how many terms you have. If it was plus dot, 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 right, then what would you put on top? Infinity. What is the infinity symbol?
Like sideways.
Sideways 8. But if it's not, if it's a finite series, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many terms do you have? 5 terms, right? So you put a 5 on top. And then what goes right here is the rule. Okay? In this case, what would the rule be? It would just be I. Okay? Questions? So this is summation notation. Let's go over it again. You got a sigma. You're adding up the terms. At the bottom, pretty much on all these, is going to be I equals 1. You're starting off with the first term. You're going from the first term up through how many terms? 5 terms. And the rule is what? In this case, it's just I because you went 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Very, very easy example. Okay. Let's look at another example. All right? Just hold on just a second. 1 plus 4 plus 9 plus 16 plus dot, dot, dot. The question is going to say, can you write it in summation notation? All that. Can you write it in summation notation? So you put an E, you put I equals 1, right? What goes on top? Infinity symbol. Okay? Great, you'll have to practice the infinity symbol.
I really need to.
Okay, practice. Then what would your rule be?
You're funny.
I squared. Very good. How many of you saw that right away? I squared.
Definitely.
Very good. This is 1 squared, 2 squared, 3 squared, 4 squared, and so on and so on.
So I is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, that.
Correct.
Now it's always going to be that?
Correct. Well, it could be X in calculus, but for me, it'll just be I. For y'all, I want you to just use I. And it's confusing because we use I for what else? Imaginary numbers. But the book uses I, so I want you to use I. Let's do one more.
What determines that number I equals 1?
That's you're starting at your first term. That's where you start at. If you started at the 3rd term or the 25th term, then you would put 25.
Okay.
That's where you're starting.
Now another question.
All right. Please be quiet.
Does this have any relevance to what we just did?
It does, because this could be a sequence. When we start adding them up, then it changes into a series.
You have to know like A to the end.
Yeah, because this example here, you're going to have to do a little work on the rule. Okay, here we go. 1 over 3 plus 2 over 4 plus 3 over 5 plus dot, 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 9 over 11. All right, so you have to write it in summation notation. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is put our E, right? I equals 1. Is this a infinite series or a finite series? Finite. But we don't know how many terms are in here yet. We got to figure out the rule first. There could be 2 terms. There could be 29 terms. We got to figure out how many. Okay? So the next step is we got to figure out the rule. All right? 1 and 3, 2 and 4, 3 and 5. Look at your numerator. Look at your denominator. What do you think goes on the numerator? What goes on the top? Just I. Right? I. When I is 1, you got 1. When I is 2, you got 2, and so on and so on. What do you think goes on the bottom? I plus 2, is that right?
Good call. Good call. Definitely what
I plus 2 on the bottom. When I is 1, do we get 1/3? Yes, we do. When I is 2, do we get 2/4? How much harder would this problem have been if I'd have canceled there and said 1/2? It'd have been a little harder. You'd have to do a lot more in your head.
I think I would say that.
Okay. How many term is 9 over 11? Your 9th term, so I need to finish it out by putting a what here? A 9 right there, and I'm done. Okay, 9 right there. Questions? Laura? Finite means that there's a number there. If it's infinite, there would be an infinity symbol there. Okay? Good question. Anybody else? All right.
Let's do another practice problem.
All right, how about this one? Please be quiet. Wally? Not supposed to be sitting in that seat anyway.
I can see better.
All right, write that in summation notation. Alright, so we got E right here. What's our lower limit? Where do we start off at? I equals 1. What's our upper limit? Infinity, right? Goes on and on and on forever. That's what dot, dot, dot means. Alright, what's the rule if we go 3, 5, 7, an odd number starting at 3? 2i plus 1. 2i plus 1. Raise your hand if you got that right. Got it very good. Questions? Alright, you can cut it off.